Hello, and welcome to the third sector. In our society, there are three sectors: the public, the private, and the nonprofit, and it's that third sector that we talk about on this show. My guest today is Susan Yeager, Executive Director of the Model T Ford Club of America and the Model T Museum. Welcome to the show, Susan.
Much, Rachel. Really appreciate the invitation to be here. It's wonderful.
Well, we're glad to have you. I know there is so much about the Model T Ford Club that people don't know, and the Model T Museum. But let's start with the first aspect, the Model T Ford Club of America. I think the name is a little misleading because I don't think your members are just from America.
They aren't, although we have members in every state in the U.S., and we also have members in currently 31 different countries. So it definitely is a global membership that we have. Yeah, it's great. We have currently right around 5,500 members. So that's great. And all people who are enthusiastic about Model Ts.
That's just amazing that there are that many people that love the Model Ts.
Yes.
And
yes, I know you're one of them.
That's true. My husband and I have a 1924 Roadster that we love to drive around town. People just love to see those little cars coming.
They do. They put a smile on everyone's face. You just can't help yourself.
They do. And it's all ages. And the older folks, if we're driving it somewhere and we park, they want to tell us stories. Well, my dad had one, or, I learned to drive in that Model T. And the kids just want to know what it is. It looks like a car, but not really like the cars they're used to seeing. And so it's such a conversation starter.
It really is. And I think because they come in all shapes and sizes. They use Model Ts for everything from just Sunday drive to hauling grain and everything in between. So I think that's another really fascinating part of a Model T, is just all the wonderful uses.
Absolutely. And when they weren't just driving them around, they were unhooking something and hooking something else up to it to use as a conveyor belt or a snow plow. It was really a versatile automobile.
Yes. It sure is.
Well, tell us more about the Model T Ford Club of America. How did it get started, and when did it get started, for that matter? I don't think folks realize how long the Model T Ford Club has been around.
Right. The organization was actually started in 1966 by a group of enthusiasts in California. And they incorporated in California and started a club. And it was always meant to be a driving club. It wasn't organized as, just for show, where, they would go to car shows. It was where they would drive and enjoy their Model Ts. So those first years, it grew very, very quickly. At one time, there were about 7,000 members all over, but it was definitely, it was and is the largest Model T Ford Club in the world. And one of the things that makes our membership very attractive is we publish the Vintage Ford magazine. I know I got a little glare on that, but we publish this magazine every other month, and it's a outstanding publication of everything of history, information about our events that the organization has, and technical advice. It's a very useful tool for our members and anybody interested in Model Ts and interested in history, honestly.
I have always said one of the great things about people that love Model Ts is that it's like a family. We have the Henry Hoosiers, which is our local club that we belong to. And when we didn't have COVID, we would go on rides and go visiting, have lunch, go out for ice cream, and inevitably someone's car would break down. And somebody would pitch in, we'd fix it. because
Yeah.
everybody carries spare parts, belts, you name it. We had it with us. And
Yeah.
I think that's the fun part about this group, that
Hmm.
you talked about the history, and not only do the folks know the history, but they know how to work on these vehicles, and they
Right.
love to help each other with the
Hmm.
vehicles. And that's one of the neat things about the magazines.
Yeah.
One of the picture that's up on the screen now is a picture that was recently taken of a lot of the local car owners
Hmm.
who got together for a photo shoot.
Hmm.
It was such a neat way to celebrate this family of car owners in
Right.
our community.
Yeah.
But tell us more about the club.
Hmm. Yeah, we have, I'll just have to add to what you said about people wanting to help. It's almost when you go on a tour, it's almost like if somebody doesn't break down, they're like really disappointed because they have to come and help somebody. So like if somebody stops, it's like a beehive. Everybody is whoosh, who's going to help? So they're really disappointed if somebody doesn't break down,
Yes.
which is pretty unusual. But they have fun. But we actually have over, I think it's about 130 local chapters all over the U.S. and other countries as well. And so at each local chapter level, just like you said with the Henry Hoosiers, they have meetings, tours. There's a lot of local tours where the chapter members will go out on their own. There's also regional tours, national tours. That's where we hold those once a year, sometimes twice a year, depending on the interest. And we hold those in different geographic areas all over the states and internationally as well. Having the opportunity to go experience the driving, like I said, when the club was formed, it was formed as an active driving club. And these people, I've been privileged to be able to go on a number of them, the times I've been here. And one of them being the Glacier National Park. And these little T's climb those mountains, and it's just amazing because they were the first cars that would have driven in those national parks when they developed the national parks. The T's were the first ones out there, and so it's you look at them and you're like, oh, is that going to be a little bit rickety? But man, they go everywhere. So the club is really dedicated to preserving the history, the legacy, how to care for them, the maintenance and the skills needed to take care of a tea. So we do all of those things, and I think we do it pretty darn well too.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you.
Hmm.
How is the club governed?
Sure. We have an elected board of directors, 9 board of directors that are elected by our membership. So another one of the things as a member of the Model T Ford Club of America, in addition to getting the magazine and other things, is you are allowed to vote for who your leadership would be. So we have the directors, then the executive director is charged with operating the club and the museum. So that's the governing structure. We're actually we're incorporated originally in California, so that's where our original incorporated. Then we are, of course, in Indiana as well, but we still have heavy ties to California. We have a large number of members and chapters out there, just because of the nature of that's where we started. But we have very active chapters and members all over.
You've mentioned a couple times chapters. What does it
Mhm.
take to become a chapter of the Model T Ford Club of
Mhm.
America?
Sure. Actually, it's very simple. 5 active members of the Model T Ford Club, which is very economical to join. It's only $40 a year, and you get that wonderful magazine and everything else. But it just takes 5 members who are typically in a close geographic area, so they can gather and drive together, and they just need to request to become part of the MTFCA, and we just have the requirement that the officers and directors of a chapter have to remain active, and at least 50% or more of their the remainder of the membership always has to be. So yeah, so it's not a hard process, and we always encourage people. There are some states that we don't have a lot of chapters, and so we are always encouraging, especially when we get new members in those areas, that it's great, because that opportunity to get hands-on experience, advice, like you said, our members love to give advice about their about the Model Ts, and it's great, especially for a new person getting into the hobby, which I'll also mention. It's a very economical car, a vintage car to purchase. A lot of folks are surprised that you can easily get into a Model T that runs well for under $10,000, and it's not like a lot of vintage cars that you're used to are into the tens of thousands of dollars. So, but you'll need some help there at the beginning. You also need to get some help to learn how to drive it. It's not like driving a car today.
No, it sure isn't. There's not really a gas or a brake pedal as you would think of in your modern car. It takes a little bit of thought to drive a Model T.
It does.
And the gas,
that stopping thing, yeah.
That's right. The gas is a lever on the steering wheel, and it's kind of crazy at first.
They are.
Yes. I want to switch now and talk about a real gem that we have in our community, the Model T Museum. Let's talk a little bit about that. Some of the pictures that have been popping up as we've been talking are from the Model T Museum. And I'm not sure folks realize that we have the only Model T Museum in the world, right here in Richmond, Indiana.
That's right. That's always a surprise to people that, there's plenty of museums that have Model Ts, but we are the only one that are dedicated solely to the Model T. So we're very proud and honored to have that, and to have it here in Richmond, like you said. It's great, and I think that's one of the things that people also don't realize, with that being the case. How much we contribute to the community in terms of bringing people here. We are a destination point, not only for Model T enthusiasts, but for travelers in general. People come to Richmond that probably would never have come before. And they stay here, they use their hotels, they use their restaurants and go shopping. And so we, in addition to providing the historical aspects of the museum, we are really a very strong contributor to Richmond and Wayne County economy. And we're real proud of that.
Absolutely. A lot of nonprofits in the community do a lot of great things, and the Model T Museum has to be right up there with them as far as bringing money into the community, and the dollars that you raise often are outside of the community. Not only do you bring folks in, but you bring dollars into the community.
Right.
And that's a real crown, jewel in your crown, I believe.
It is. And of course, a lot of that started with the 2008 centennial that most folks remember, and a week-long event where I think it ended up with what I call kind of a love connection between Richmond and the Model T community. Honestly, I talk to people all the time who were here for the event, who come back for our homecoming, who they love Richmond and Wayne County. They literally say that, there's few places that they have been, and these are well-traveled folks, that they felt more welcome, and just the hospitality here. So kudos to our community for showing off that Hoosier hospitality, because it keeps people coming back every year. It really does.
Our community really stepped up during that centennial. So
Yes.
many people, my husband and I own a restaurant here. So many people come in and say they're headed to the Model T Museum and have heard so much about our community and how welcoming we were to the folks during that centennial. And, that's what we've got to do as a small
Yes.
community to get people to come back. And so kudos to everybody,
Absolutely.
for whatever small part or large part they played in that event.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. We had over 700 volunteers from the community that helped with that event, and that alone is pretty darn amazing.
Isn't it, though? There's a shot of some of the Model Ts up on the screen right now.
Is there?
It gives you a sense of, the types of Model Ts that we have, from the Roadster down in the right-hand corner to the covered cars. It's just amazing, the different types of cars. And speaking of that, tell us about some of the cars that people will see in the museum when they come to visit.
Sure. Well, right now, and I should mention that 90% of the cars that we have have been donated, and are owned by the museum, donated by members and non-members. But we do have a number of vehicles which are on loan to us for different periods of time, which is great because we can move, continually have new exhibits and move things around and have new things to show. And one of the most recent cars that came in on loan is the 5 millionth Model T that was ever made, of which there were 15 million that were made between 1908 and 1927. So it's a 1921 coupe, and it's owned by the American Museum of Speed in Lincoln, Nebraska, and they have kindly loaned that to us for 2 years. So it'll be here through at least June of 2022, and it's just a great little car. I don't know if you have a picture of it there or not, but it says 5 millionth Model T, and it was really fun when it arrived in July, I should say. We had just finished the mural painting on the exterior of our agency building, and we set that car out in front because the mural makes it looks just like a Ford agency, which was eventually they turned into dealerships, what it would have looked like. And so it's just a really neat shot to see that the 5 million outside of the agency building. And it's just a wonderful car and a wonderful history behind it. It was lost for a good period of time. Henry Ford had it for a while, and then it went into another collection. So it was kind of a lost car, but it was found again, and then went into the Museum of American Speed, and now we have it for a while. So that's great. And then some of the other really special cars that we have, people always enjoy our Model T snowmobile, which is did service for like 25 years with a mailman up in Minnesota, and it's made out of his kitchen cabinets. it looks like it's made out of his kitchen cabinets. That's always fun. We have a vegetable truck. We have a beautiful 1912 town car, which were very rare. That would be like you would see on Downton Abbey. That's a very special car that would have been chauffeur driven. Beautiful brass on it. We have two 1909 Model Ts that were manufactured 6 months apart and are very different. The first one, it was number 354 out of the 15 millionth made, and we have that one. And then we have one. The second one is number 6,000 in the serial numbers, and there were many changes in that 6 months because that was when they were sort of perfecting how they wanted things to be. And so that's fascinating to see the differences between those two cars. So those are the some of the things that you'll see in our main building, along with the Pete and Pole airplane that's suspended in the building and is run on a Model T engine.
You've mentioned the agency a couple times, and I know that this is something that came to fruition during your reign as executive director. Talk to us a little bit about acquisition of that building and the renovation and what all went into that.
Sure. Well, I can't talk about that without saying none of this would happen without our volunteers. The museum would not exist without these fabulous people who have a heart for the Model T and to want to showcase and preserve its history. So the agency building at the time was called the Annex, and it was built. It's across the street. It's on the west side of 8th Street there, and was primarily used just for storage area, and it was where we put all the junk. But we had a group of our volunteers who had a vision that they wanted to see a vintage garage and a machine shop in that building. And so, and the building is sort of split in two, and we had just the half of it that we were renting. And they got to work on building this vintage garage and machine shop, and you really have to come in and see it. It's like stepping back in time when you come into this building. And they literally cut down trees on their property, brought in one of them has a portable sawmill. They cut all the wood. They constructed everything in this building to make it period correct. And all of the machinery, the tools have all been donated. They're all Model T era. We have the working line shaft machine shop. And it is really amazing what they've put together here. It truly is. And so when that half was completed, we said we really need to secure this building, what they've done, and make sure that it will remain with us, because we were renting at that time. So thanks to our wonderful members and supporters, we were able to purchase this building and then expand into the other side, which has become our agency and showroom. And the purpose of the building really is to show the progression of how a Ford agency progressed over time, because when you come in the front door, it's a small one room, got one car in there, and that's what a Ford agency would have been. It would be one guy, one salesman. would have one car in one room. And then you go in now to our recently finished showroom, which is a real showroom now. And it's and we have a salesman's office where somebody would go in and make arrangements to buy their car. Then you continue through that. Back we have an agricultural room display, and then you'd go into the vintage garage, which is what the next step for an agency. As they grow, they add more people, then they start doing repairs, then they start doing the machine shop. So it truly now shows a story of the progression. And I should also mention, sorry, take up so much time here, but on our website, we have a virtual tour that if you're still not comfortable coming out just yet, but want to see what we're all about, if you go to our website, which is just mtfca.com, and go to the museum section, and you'll see there's 2 links to one for each building, and you can literally walk around like you're right here. And so if you want to get a glimpse, now and then come later, that would be great.
Super. We've got 1 minute left, Susan, and I know that the museum counts on donations from folks. We really need that, especially this year. How can they support the museum financially?
Sure. Well, we would greatly appreciate your gifts. You can, again, go to our website, www.mtfca.com. You can phone our office. You can find us easily online. So we're very appreciative of any gifts that can go towards our programs, a lot of which is we're working on education programs for all ages right now as well.
And in our final 30 seconds, I want to say congratulations to you on your retirement. I know that you're looking forward to your second retirement, and so I want to say congratulations to you on a well-deserved rest coming up.
Thank you, Rachel. And I could not be more excited to see you coming on board. This has been a labor of love, and I know that it's being passed on to someone that'll take us to another even better level. So congratulations to you, and I'm really excited for you. So thanks, Rachel.
Thank you. You've done so much for the museum, and I know I'm not the only one that wants to say thank you for over 5 years of dedication. I know it's become a passion for you, and it shows in all the work that you have done.
Thank you.
And it's just amazing what has been done under your leadership, so thank you.
I appreciate that, Rachel. Thank you.
And before I leave today, I want to say thank you to all of you for watching the Third Sector for the 14 years that I have served as the host. I also want to say that this will be my last show, and it has been a real joy for me to host this show, but as another chapter of my life begins at the Model T Museum, I think it's time for me to end my term as the host. I've really enjoyed it. Folks come up to me all the time and say, "I saw you on TV," and that means the world to me, because that means my message is getting across. And my real joy is to make connections in the community, to help our nonprofits get their message out of the very important work that they're doing. And so I want to say thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting our nonprofits in the community. And for the final time, thank you for joining us for the Third Sector.